The venue, Old Trafford, the derby atmosphere electric, the ultimate prize for Manchester United, the First Division Championship. But for neighbours Manchester City, it was just a matter of pride. Good evening and welcome to the calmer surroundings of the Match of the Day studio, from where, though, we can promise you 50 minutes of non-stop action. As well as United v City, there's the purposeful Championship challenge of Chelsea to consider at Southampton.
Here's Bond, and McLaughlin, fine save by Francis.
The second division is equally exciting at the top, and this afternoon challengers Sheffield United had the chance to peg back league leaders Norwich.
Begins, that was deflected, and Burridge reacted well.
The harsh reality of management makes tonight's headlines. Don Howe asked to be released by Arsenal following their interest in Terry Venables at Barcelona. And Brian Kidd quits Preston, the bottom club in the Canon League. All this on a day when Liverpool join Everton at the top of the Championship.
Well, we start the action with Manchester United and Manchester City. The stage, Old Trafford. Let commentator John Motson introduce you to the cast.
An all-ticket crowd of over 50,000, a thrilling but testing occasion for 5 players in particular. There's Peter Davenport making his third appearance for Manchester United, the club he supported as a boy. There's City striker Mark Lillis playing in his first Old Trafford derby, but he was here as a youngster as a City fan. Mark Higgins plays his first league match for over 2 years. His last one was here for Everton before injury looked like ending his career. 18-year-old Steve Redmond in the City defence is playing only his third league game. And Peter Barnes comes back against his old club despite breaking a bone in his hand yesterday. Barnes replaces Jesper Olsen. Higgins comes in for the injured Kevin Moran. And news too that Brian Robson has come through a practice match and could be back in the first team as soon as next Saturday. City have Redmond at centre-half in place of the suspended McCarthy. Steve Kinsey and Clive Wilson are recalled after a long absence in preference to Gordon Davis and Paul Simpson, who's their substitute. A Cheshire referee for this Northwest occasion, Don Shaw, comes from Sandbach, 35 miles away. It's 6 years to the day since United beat City here at Old Trafford. March the 22nd, 1980, United won here 1-0. Well, they did beat City 3-0 at Main Road earlier this season. A partisan, almost tribal occasion. The City fans are at the right-hand end and the United faithful packing the Stretford end to the left. The end which City in their blue strip are defending in the first half. The first of 2 cup finals in successive days is how City are treating this. Duxbury short to Strachan. Helped on by Gibson. Clements with the header. Not really clear. Hughes takes on the young 18-year-old Redmond, who fouled him. The noise absolutely deafening. Whiteside and Strachan are close to the ball. Gibson is just to their left. Might fancy a shot with his left foot. He did! It's there! Colin Gibson, the man wearing Brian Robson's shirt, scores a goal with his left foot, which would have done justice to the England captain. What a start for Manchester United. Gibson, a good left-footed striker of the ball, buried that low in the corner, and the Reds are off to a flyer. Only the second minute of the derby, and City a goal behind. All because Hughes, number 9, won the free kick. A man who's supposed to have Barcelona on his mind. Not at this minute, I shouldn't think. Here he is again. Plays it back to Duxbury. And here's McNabb for City, who are trying to get out of their own half with some difficulty. Wilson, Lillis. Harassed by Whiteside, Strachan Davenport's gone to the right wing. Strachan tries the lofted shot. Well, the stunned City fans, whose own team haven't scored for their last 4 matches, know that they've got to do so today now to find a way back into the derby. Fought cold. Lillis, he's got Kinsey up with him on that side, and Duxbury will have to be quick. McGrath was. It was a good challenge by Paul McGrath. Chris Turner still keeping Gary Bailey out of the side. Gibson, Albiston. Here's Barnes, almost his first touch. Inside to Strachan. And on by Whiteside, it might come again for him. He's got Duxbury wide if he wants him. There are 4 in the middle. Here's Strachan. Oh, and Nixon didn't make it! Defenders saved him. Whiteside goes in and it committed a foul. Whiteside went in on Phillips, left his foot there. Referee had to separate them. But Nixon was nervous. There's no question about that. The ball in troubled him, and his defenders got it away. Lillis. Power. Looking for Kinsey. McGrath letting it bounce. Kinsey's in on him. Was it hands? Kinsey again. McGrath brings the ball out only as far as Andy May. A corner is given. Up goes Clements. Fine save by Turner. You just wondered if he was going to get back in time to turn it over, and he did. From Kenny Clements. Now Wilson with the corner. Driven. Header out by McGrath. Just over a quarter of an hour gone, and City's turn to attack. Nicky Reid. Power went charging forward. Message is being passed down there because Ron Atkinson has just gone back to his seat. Kinsey, May again, Lillis, and May once more, and May again, and Phillips at the far post. Here's McNabb. Now Power. And Duxbury blocks. It's a corner to City to be taken by McNabb. Clements has stayed back this time, but Redmond has gone forward again. Lillis up, Phillips with the drive, and over and into the crowd behind the goal from David Phillips, when you would probably have backed him normally to strike that one under the crossbar. Just got underneath it as the bounce came in front of him, but he knows it was close in the last minute of the half for City. And half-time comes with Manchester United leading in the derby by 1-0. Loud applause. It's been typically competitive, but only 1 goal to show for all the action. And that came in the 2nd minute when Colin Gibson drove in following a free kick. And that's all that separates the Manchester rivals at half-time. Gibson's 5th goal since he came from Aston Villa. Well, the moment of truth in the championship race is not too far away now. Manchester United leading here. Next Saturday they're away to Birmingham. On Easter Monday, Everton come to Old Trafford. Offside, Simpson. And the official attendance announced this afternoon as 51,274. It was an all-ticket match. It isn't United's best of the season, but that had something to do with the segregation. On by Davenport to Hughes. Gibson came through the gap. This is Strachan. Now Whiteside. Duxbury. It's Power who came across. Davenport. Duxbury. Strachan. Duxbury again. Crowd anxious to see a cross go in. It went from Whiteside to Hughes. Strachan was set up for the shot, and it could fall for Davenport. Oh no! City are let off the hook by a most uncharacteristic slice by Davenport when he was well placed to make it two. Whiteside played the initial ball into Hughes. The ricochet off the City defender really set Davenport up, but he blazed wide of the goal, and City are going to make a substitution off the back of that. 19 years old Paul Simpson, who is in the England under-21 squad for next week, was dropped for today's game, but he's going to have to come on now because it looks as though Kenny Clements is injured. Now the big question here is who goes into the back four, and I just wonder whether Lillis, City's main striker, whether he'll have to go back and play centre-half. I think he will. Certainly Simpson's gone up front with Kinsey. Good header by Gibson. Davenport. Hughes making his way into the middle. Davenport. Penalty! Yes! Nicky Reed, I think, on Davenport. Penalty given to Manchester United. And a chance for them to go 2 up. He was turning inside, threatening to evade the challenge. Was sent crashing down, and the referee has given a penalty which Gordon Strachan appears to be taking, having resumed the responsibility from the spot. And scores! In the earlier derby, Robson scored from a penalty. He's not playing today. The job's changed hands more than once here. Strachan's taken it back, and he made no mistake. 59 minutes gone, Manchester United 2, Manchester City 0, and off comes Peter Barnes, and on comes Frank Stapleton. Well, there were 1 or 2 protests from City players, but not from Reed, it appeared. Davenport made his contribution, and Strachan made his point to get the second goal. It's really given Manchester United some breathing space, although teams tend to be vulnerable when they've just scored, and City now have a free kick which McNabb will take. And Lillis knocked it back for Kinsey. A goal that's really going to relieve the output of Gordon Strachan. That was only his 4th of the season for Manchester United, and only his 2nd in the last 23 games. This after scoring 19 last season, 9 of which were penalties. Here's Reed. So it looks as though Manchester United may be about to complete the double over their neighbours, although it should be said that in the last derby played here, City led 2-0 and United fought back to 2-2, so I wonder whether the reverse could happen. Simpson, May, Phillips in the penalty area, Wilson was too, and Wilson scores! His 3rd good chance, and he puts this one away for City's first goal in 5 games. Andy May worked hard on the the right, and when the ball came across, Phillips was in there, and Turner may have been unsighted when Wilson's header cracked into the far corner. The 71st minute, Manchester United 2, Manchester City 1, and at last they've got a goal, City. Hughes. Hung on well, Stapleton. Strachan. And Lillis comes across, the ball not really running for either of them. Here's Simpson. Oh, that's nicely done. Steve Kinsey wants it played now by Andy May, and he got it. And they're streaming up in support. Nicky Reed's up on the far side. Here's Simpson. Trying to turn McGrath, not succeeding, but the clearance doesn't help United. Power, and that doesn't help City either. And Strachan gets into trouble. Well, McNabb, Wilson. And Simpson. And what up, the defender! Orbiston stepped across him, and the ball went in. Arthur Orbiston stepped across, and inadvertently, that went into the Manchester United net to make it 2-2. Well, Simpson threatened the defence, but you wouldn't expect a mistake like that. It's put City level. Arthur Orbiston, who scored for United in the first derby at Main Road, now puts through his own goal to level the second one at Old Trafford. He's trying to make up for it. There he goes on a charge. And Lillis, the emergency centre-half, and one has to make this point, City have come back from 2 down with Kenny Clements off the pitch, and the centre-forward effectively playing at centre-half. Eight minutes to go. Davenport. Through the legs, beautifully done, but he couldn't nudge it back to Hughes, and the chance goes. Two goals in the space of 7 minutes have turned this Manchester derby on its head. Well, there was a foot up there. Well, the Old Trafford faithful saw that massive lead disappear in the championship race. 10 points, and now they've seen a 2-goal lead disappear against City. Reed. Oh, and Turner having to judge that carefully too. Didn't have to touch it as it happened, but Nicky Reed, who's conceding of the penalty, put Manchester United 2 up, has now seen his team come back to 2-2, and they might even do better. Right side, playing it beautifully out into the path of Gibson, but it's the ball in that matters now for United. And Redmond's there, but so is Strachan. The overhead frolics from Andy May. A mistake by Higgins, a bad mistake actually, which McGrath atoned for. And there's drama still to come, perhaps. Under 3 minutes, Strachan, Davenport, and Strachan again for United. Oh, it came back off the goalkeeper, back off Strachan and wide. Hughes was beautifully positioned if Strachan could have sensed where he was, but sometimes from up here it's so easy to say that. He was going for goal himself, and the rebound didn't favour United there, and the City fans behind the goal are still buoyant. Reed, McNabb, and thumped forward by Mark Higgins. Lillis doing a grand job there as the emergency central defender, but the Old Trafford crowd, or the United section of it, just screaming for a winner. This is Davenport. Gibson. Hughes! With under 2 minutes to go, Hughes sees his header go agonisingly wide. And with it, how much, I wonder, of United's championship prospects? Too early to say, but what is true is that they've allowed a 2-goal lead to slip here, and it could prove costly. 2-2 in the dying embers of this derby. There's Kinsey with McGrath. And now McNabb to May. And Stapleton got chopped a bit. 4 draws in a row then here for Manchester City, but for Ron Atkinson, more importantly, 2 championship points dropped, some would say thrown away. My own view is that although Albiston got into a terrible mess on that equaliser, that Manchester City must take some credit. They were 2 down, they had Wembley on their mind tomorrow perhaps, but they came back in this derby as United did against them the last time they played here, to force a draw with 2 goals in a 7-minute recovery spell in the second half, and Billy McNeil has reason to applaud both his fans and his players. But the inquest here in Manchester will be about how Manchester United gave away a 2-goal lead, just as they were earlier in the season, about how they lost a 10-point lead in the championship race. An eventful derby with Neil McNabb, one of the men of the match for me. Manchester United 2, Manchester City 2.
Well, quite extraordinary the way that game swung. United, with the encouragement of Gibson's goal early on, threatened to overwhelm City, but they survived and gradually hauled themselves back into the game. Their neat, imaginative patterns were a joy to watch. Yet at their peak, they gave away the penalty, and we thought the points too. Their record suggests recently too much midfield champagne and not enough wallop near goal. But the most elegant Clive Wilson gave them hope, and the generous Arthur Albiston a point. Consolation for United, the latest £600,000 spend looked a sound investment, and this flash of Peter Davenport perhaps said more. Outstanding players perform where it counts. That's in the penalty area. With an awareness and perfect touch, here he is on the ball now, to create a chance in a tight space. They also have the confidence to take on one opponent at least and make something happen. But Davenport or not, United slip, giving further hope to Chelsea and others. Had won, Everton had lost, and in the path of the pensioners, Southampton and their illustrious goalkeeper. Your commentator is Barry Davis.
Peter Shilton makes his 750th league appearance. His debut for Leicester City back in season 65-66. By contrast, in the opposition goal, Steve Francis gets his first game of the season on a ground where his career was launched as a 17-year-old back in October 1981. The lineup in front of Francis shows one change, the absence of Jerry Murphy, who has a number of injuries. Kevin McAllister deputises. Southampton welcome back Joe Jordan. He hasn't played for the first team since October, since which time he's had a cartilage operation. But they lose Mark Wright because of injury. Mark Whitlock comes in his place. And although Danny Wallace is now fit, he can do no better than take the number 12 shirt. The referee this afternoon is one of the Welshmen on the FIFA list, Keith Cooper from Pontypridd. For different reasons, both teams may have Wembley in the back of their minds, but both managers will surely have urged them before the kickoff to forget all about that. Chelsea in 4th place, 7 points adrift now with just 2 games in hand on the leaders. Dixon and Bond battling. Mark Whitlock's back pass. Good example of the attacker getting his body in front of the defender in order to shield the ball. Steve Moran. Jordan, nicely timed. Mark Dennis. Lawrence coming across. And McLaughlin a little lucky that didn't fall to Cockrell. Holmes, worth a try, got caught in two minds. Perfectly capable of having a shot from that sort of range. We've seen it in the past, but he was looking for the chip for somebody going forward, I think. Spackman. McAllister. There's a bit of a gap there. Holmes came to him to close it down. First time he's been able to cut inside. This is Rugby. 5 Chelsea players in the middle. Dennis. That's a good try, and it's in. I think it got a deflection. No, an offside decision has been given against Kerry Dixon, so McAllister's effort will not count. The ball was deflected, and Kerry Dixon was standing in an offside position. He's a bit unlucky, Kevin McAllister, but what would have been his second goal of the season, rubbed out for offside. Lawrence, oh dear. Referee just has a quick look, allows the free kick to be taken. And Wood has to put it out for a corner, with Armstrong coming in behind. Speedy takes the near post, McAllister takes the far. Dennis, chance for a shot from Lawrence. And Cockrell strided over the ball. What he couldn't tell, but what our cameras clearly picked up, was the fact that if he'd have flicked at it with his right foot, it could have caused a lot of problems for Steve Francis. Whitlock. Work for Lawrence. Oh, but not for Moran. He's a bit lucky. Gets a second chance. Oh, good confidence to meet it on the full. Not sure there wasn't a foul by Lawrence at the start of that move, but the bounces favoured Southampton, and it was a good attempt at a finish by Steve Moran. Nod down came from Rugby. On by Jordan. Pates is committed, and committed well. Kevin Bond making his way into the area. Cockrell has pulled out on the edge of it. Fine ball by Mark Dennis. No challenge on Lawrence, and here's Bond. And McLaughlin, fine save by Francis. Came off the centre half. And Francis got down very sharply indeed to turn it round the post. But it was significant in that attack that Kevin Bond was picked up at no stage, and it was he who got the header across the face of the goal that caused the problems for McLaughlin and then for Francis. Forrest, slight lack of concentration, but neat turn. Moran. He was certainly lucky, Joe McLaughlin. Spackman. Oh, beautifully done. Lovely sway of the hips, one way and then the other. Pity the cross didn't match it. but the cross really was played a little too early. Oh, beautifully poised, though, at the start of that, Pat Nevin. Away by Cockrell, got a touch off Nevin. Dixon. Wood. Dixon was poised. Cockrell. And we reach half-time with a blank score sheet. But Chelsea players have come nearest to scoring. So half-time, 0-0. So intense is the battle at the top that really a draw here would not be good enough for Chelsea. So close to winning at Everton last Sunday, and then held in midweek by QPR. They need all 3 points here past Peter Shilton. Forrest. Moran, offside. And the number of offside decisions are becoming, in truth, a bit of a bore. And we've had an hour, 2/3 of the match, without a goal. McAllister, it's outside the area. Interesting to see whether he sees that as obstruction. Just an academic point as whether it matters that it was outside the area. Nevin on the ball. And it's Colin Pates who hits it, and it's deflected. And Chelsea have the lead. 62nd minute. And not unearthly that Peter Shilton can do about that. Not very happy, the England goalkeeper. But the shot by Pates deflected, and it went in like a rocket. Hancock gets away with a bit of a charge. Free kick for offside. Just a touch of the free kick to Colin Pates, and he struck it well, but Mark Whitlock stuck out a leg, and that was enough to take it past Peter Shilton. Bumstead. Pass and return. Ended by Whitlock at the expense of the corner. Bumstead. Spackman to set himself, wasn't given too much time. Shilton looks at the ground. Is that a spot I see before me? Spackman. Nevin. Time to pick somebody out. Dixon far post, Speedy in the middle. Wood. No question that Chelsea have looked the better side and controlled the match since going ahead, and maybe since slightly earlier than that. Free kick against Kevin Bond. And he reacted quite strongly against the referee. Bumstead, the injured player. Southampton are going to make their substitution. Not universally popular that George Lawrence is off, but the home crowd happy to see Danny Wallace on. Nevin, Speedy. Oh dear, oh dear. Dixon didn't actually make a challenge for the ball then, which seemed a little surprising. George Horsfall on his feet. Sniffle in the centre there. Cockrell, speedy, making every defender work. And I think workmanlike is a good description of Chelsea's performance. Spackman feeding the right shoulder. Armstrong, Wallace! Grabbed late, but successfully. Just for a moment then, Wallace seemed to have a yawning goal. Cockrell, route to goal was blocked by Speedy. And the route to the back pass, that is. And the one goal decides Chelsea have the spoils through the goal from the free kick, scored by Colin Pates, which took a deflection off the wall and gave Peter Shilton not an earthly. Very much a B feature, but Chelsea stay on course for the main event, the contest for the championship. Southampton 0, Chelsea 1.
That win by Chelsea strengthens their challenge for the championship because, as you can see, if they win their games in hand, they would be 2 points ahead of both Everton and Liverpool. Liverpool joined the champions on 66 points after thrashing Oxford 6-0 with 2 goals each from Ian Rush and Jan Molby. While Everton lost for the first time in 3 months, Luton beat them 2-1 with Mike Newell getting a late winner. Arsenal aren't out of it either, but the real drama came minutes after their 4th win in a row, 3-0 at home to Coventry. Manager Don Howe announced, "I have asked to be released immediately from my contract and want to leave Arsenal tonight." When asked the reasons, Howe replied, "What do you think?" His decision comes at the end of a week when Arsenal, the club with the reputation for doing everything just right off the field, have been heavily linked with an approach for the services of Terry Venables. The Barcelona manager has made it clear this week that he is homeward bound this summer. Arsenal chairman Peter Hill-Wood left Highbury on the final whistle without comment. Meanwhile, as England's number 2, Don Howe will still leave with the England party, who will fly to Russia for Wednesday's international. The only withdrawal tonight, Watford's John Barnes with the groin strain. He's not being replaced. Also out of international duty, Barcelona-bound Mark Hughes. He damaged a hamstring in the Manchester derby and misses Wales match in Dublin. At the bottom of the First Division, Birmingham won the Big Midlands derby at Villa Park 3-0, Wayne Clark scoring twice, and that defeat, plus Ipswich's 1-0 win against West Bromwich Albion, puts Aston Villa in serious trouble.
Well, now for a look at the Second Division promotion race, and among the chasing clubs, Sheffield United, who have the pedigree and the support to climb higher. Today's threat came from leaders Norwich, no doubt on their way back to the First Division, after being relegated and still winning the Milk Cup last time round.
Good play by John Dean, it's still in. Shannon, good tackle. Oh, and it's an own goal!
A year ago this weekend, Norwich City went chirping home from Wembley, winners of the Milk Cup. They were halfway up the First Division, but they won only 3 more games and toppled off their perch into relegation. But Norwich come to Bramall Lane today, 8 points clear at the top of the Second Division, with 5 new Canaries signed in the summer, and with manager Ken Brown declaring there'll be no complacency this year.
Well, people say that we've got a good little leeway at the top there, but as it's proved in the past, nothing has ever won until the end. We thought we were safe last year, and we weren't. If I remember coming to Sheffield a few years before that, we had a great run to get promotion the same way. So it's got fond memories with it, you know, Sheffield.
But in the Sheffield United dressing room, there's a confident air based on 30 goals this season from their leading strikers. Keith Edwards has 17, Peter With has 13. So 5 minutes gone, and still the score sheet blank. Mistake by Bolton. He may yet retrieve it. Bruce was playing the ball onside. Edwards. Well, it was Bruce who dropped off and opened up the possibility. Barham. All the possibilities here. Got left back Dean up there. And that's an own goal. It's gone in off Paul Smith. Well, Dean turning up in the penalty area has been causing problems, and when he played the cross in there, Paul Smith trying to get it away, put it past his own goalkeeper. 1-0 to Norwich, and we've been playing 7 minutes. Culverhouse to Mendham. Dean, very influential in the game so far, John Dean. Williams' cross got all the way through to Mendham. Well, I think they were looking for a little better there. Williams hit the cross hard. He eluded several players in the middle, but reached Mendham, and he'll be disappointed his shot wasn't on target. Drinkle. Tripped by McNaught. So it'll be Barham to take it. And any one of 5 to aim for. Barham leaving it for Dean and himself for Williams and going in to make a 6th. Williams couldn't find any of them. Now onside. Away goes Morris. Edwards making tracks to get into the middle. Foley going too, with at the back post, and it's with that it comes to, and the header is turned in by Edwards, and that's a good goal. And it was a very intelligent pull away of the experienced striker Peter Wynne that made it possible. Deep beyond the back post, and the header back in, and then Keith Edwards, as ever, poaching in the 6-yard area for his 18th goal of the season. We're coming up 4 minutes from half-time. This could fall, and Drinkle has got it. The referee calling on the physio to have a look at Drinkle, and whether he is actually given the goal or not, I'm not sure. And the goal stands. Sheffield United paid the penalty for a little bit of slack covering deep in their own half. Drinkle had the space and made it tell. His 21st goal of the season. A foul. Referee has a word with McNaught for his challenge on Drinkle. Barham. Possibilities here as Mendham arrives and scores! The old-fashioned cutback from the goal line. Dean involved again, and Mendham made no mistake with that one. Phelan's throw. Dean again. Barham. Those little turns of his causing problems in the penalty area. Biggins, that was deflected, and Burridge reacted well. Ball spun up at an uncomfortable trajectory for him, and he changed his mind about what he'd originally intended to do with great agility and alacrity. Attendance just under 12,000, best here for 3 months. Bolton, again the flag stays down, Edwards is there and has scored again. Now that'll set up the last 7 or 8 minutes for Sheffield United. Keith Edwards gets a very characteristic goal. He's been laying up on the offside line, and when the ball was played through long, the flag stayed down and Edwards played the execution. Lewington to Smith, needs to go back again quickly. Watson underneath it. Then Dean, now Biggins. Williams, problems here. Barham got Biggins in the middle, goes in on his own and scores, and that settles it, 4-2. Well, that was always the danger with Sheffield United being pulled forward, and when Barham found himself onside, played in with the goal in front of him, all he needed to do was keep his head, and he did that admirably. Mark Barham's 8th goal of the season, and just as they did in September, Norwich have scored 4 times against Sheffield United. A couple of minutes left. A couple of minutes that are in many ways more important to Sheffield United than they are to Norwich City. Now here's Biggins going in and making it 5, and it's a rout. And nobody will be more pleased than Wayne Biggins, the Sheffield lad, back on his native soil, sealing the victory with Norwich City's 5th goal. 5-2 now. And that's a final scoreline that leaves Ken Brown a happy man as he contemplates the run into promotion.
No chickens counted yet. When that's physically impossible not for us not to go up, then I'll accept it, not otherwise.
You don't look a worried man to me, though.
I don't believe in worrying. I get a bit agitated and a bit concerned, and I feel a lot for players and spectators in general. I'm part of a team that's doing quite well, thank you very much.
Reporting on that feast of goals, Gerald Sinstadt. Following that defeat, Sheffield United manager Ian Porterfield was at the centre of a crowd demonstration in which fans again called for his resignation. Norwich's win puts them 11 points clear of Portsmouth, who didn't play. Wimbledon and Charlton were both held to 1-1 draws at home, so Brighton and Hull close the gap with good if narrow wins. In Division 3, Reading stay 10 points clear after their 2-0 win against Bury. Wigan earned 3 more points with a 4-3 win at Newport, but the shock was Derby's 4-1 defeat at Plymouth, who move up from 6th to 4th place. One 4th Division result tonight, Torquay 1, Mansfield Town 2. Mansfield stay 3rd, 2 points behind Chester, who won 2-1 at home to Wrexham. The leaders, Swindon, are host to 4th place Port Vale tomorrow. At the bottom of the Cannon League, another managerial upset as Brian Kidd leaves Preston North End after only 3 months in the job. What a day for managers. In Scotland, congratulations to leaders Hearts, who not only won the Edinburgh Derby 2-1 away to Hibernian, but set a new record for the Premier Division of 22 consecutive games without defeat. In the Glasgow Derby, Rangers and Celtic shared 8 goals at Ibrox. Pools, no jackpot coming up for Easter with 12 scored draws and 5 no-score draws. No claims are needed. Dividend forecast is low. These are the score draw numbers: 6, 7, 15, 18, 22, 24, 35, 39, 48, 50 and 54. Finally, from the 3rd Test match in Bridgetown, tonight's close of play score: West Indies 418 all out, England 110 for 1, with Graham Gooch 46 not out and David Gower 51 not out.
Well, plenty of excitement still left this season, that's clear. Hope you enjoyed the programme tonight, and from Bob and me, good night to you.